Event Zero was a show that Jules and I came up with just after the tunnel. It was inspired by sort of this idea of what had happened in the Tokyo sarin gas attacks years previous. I think we did very, very well with the tiny little budget that we had at the time, but it always felt like unfinished business to me. When the chance came to work with Rockzeline and Blackpills on something, we brought this IP to them and sort of went, we can reboot this and start it from scratch and turn it into something a lot bigger and a more traditional kind of narrative. And that's sort of grew into the project that we ended up making. It started to become obvious to me as I started working on the scripts with Matt and Greta, who wrote the original series, that there was a lot of opportunity for social commentary. It feels like the film's becoming more and more relevant as we're making it. Corruption, prejudice, all of that sort of stuff, that was all wrapped up in there. The world's catching up to what we thought was pretty extreme, which is kind of unsettling. Ash Ricardo's amazing. She's a total pro.
Super kind, super friendly, very, very diligent, works extremely hard.
Absolutely beautiful to work with. You know, I'd do it again any day in a heartbeat. Such a great actress. She's got such beautiful strength, and as a worker, you know, she really hurls herself in.
I think the first line from memory of the character brief is something like a force to be reckoned with. I was like, wow, I would love the opportunity to play a role like this.
I think it's one of the reasons she maybe responded to the script so strongly, and also one of the reasons that she was able to take that character and turn her into somebody that felt fully fleshed out.
She's quite unlikable and flawed. I think those characters are the most interesting to play.
NASA! What part of suspension don't you understand? I don't see your face until I discipline the hearing. You hear me?
Tell me this, does it hurt your throat, all that screaming?
Layla for me is a really interesting character. She's somebody who flies in the face of authority a lot.
When we meet her, she is on suspension for misconduct when a terrorist attack takes place in Sydney, which finds her father, who is a devout Muslim, at the centre of it, and that kind of sets her on an absolute mission to prove his innocence. I think as the story goes on, you start to see the cracks in her, and I think that's where people can start to relate.
Sting arrest, assaulting an officer.
Petty theft. And she was the one that threw the egg at the Prime Minister. There's a video online for that, actually. Are you coming round tonight?
Stokes is kind of the antithesis. He's so desperate to do things right that he'll screw himself over in the process every single time.
You still don't trust me?
He's willing to see the good in everyone. It was important to me that he had a quite strong relationship with his boss, and it's an easy acting choice if he just doesn't care about his job. But the fact that his job does matter to him, because if he loses that, then he's got nothing. He's entirely reliant on Layla, who he knows is flaky.
Layla's quite mean to him a lot of the time. There's obviously a romantic relationship between them. He thinks it's more serious than she does. She's totally dependent on Stokes.
I pushed to cast Paul in the Stokes role because I knew that character needed a comedic touch.
I think he brings a beautiful heart and warmth to the character of Stokes, which counters Layla's tough kind of nature.
There was something that naturally came out of that just worked for the character.
Whatever you did, Lay, I'm sure you had a good reason for it.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Federal police investigators are still looking into the cause. We would ask media, therefore, to please not speculate and cause undue concern for certain religious and ethnic communities. I was asked to do the original Event Zero when Enzo came to me and said, we're going to make it longer and a bigger sort of so I leapt at the chance.
Yeah, I worked with Zoe Carides a few times now. He's just a total pro. Cares about the material, cares about the role, but he's not overly precious. Not scared to try something, not scared to throw it away.
I think when you're a female actor, you often don't necessarily get to do that much stuff. You're a young female actor, you get to kiss the guy who's doing all the interesting stuff, and if you're an older female actor, you get to pat that boy on the head and say, be careful, darling. Because all the female roles were really, really solid. Really, you know, thank you very much to the screenwriters. Pamela, the Premier of New South Wales, obviously has a lot more at stake in her story
There's something about Zoe, a very elegant vibe that she brings to the character.
Yeah, just don't change things.
Okay.
I think stepping into a project like Event Zero, you know, I'm no stranger to sets, but it's my first time directing anything of this kind of scale, was initially very, very daunting.
He's not prescriptive about what needs to happen, right? And we spent a lot of time looking at the dynamics.
I'd only worked with Enzo as a producer before Event Zero. He was so relaxed. As a first-time director, it was just incredible.
I think for more than anything for me, you know, the technical stuff I felt like I had down. But as the scripts kind of evolved to the place that they did, and I saw what was happening in the world around us, I sort of started suddenly feeling this responsibility to get it right. I think the role that Yusuf plays in some ways in the story is to show how much the media can spin things completely out of control.
They create a climate of fear.
We really appreciate you standing up for what's right, you know what I mean? You're showing those Islam-loving lefties, those global elites, well, enough's enough.
Yeah, we got your back, Premier.
The influence of groups like Dave's Nationalists of Peace, you know, with their little social media presence and that sort of thing, and how very innocent, you know, he's trying to help somebody on a train platform and it gets turned into ransacking a dead body.
I was helping him! Please let me out!
It's all about perception and how we perceive people and how our own prejudices colour that perception.
I think they can expect one of the most genuinely moving films that Australia's produced. Like, there are just so many good moments in it. Enzo cares about the characters and the relationships between them, the humanity of it all.
Seems to be right in with the zeitgeist of what's going on at the moment.
The whole thing moves at a cracking pace. I think if people come away from it wanting to talk about it, then that's probably the outcome.
It's really scary how relevant it's becoming. I think we're seeing that now more than ever. This film, I think it raises those questions and it hints at those things, so hopefully it will get people thinking.
What I hope people get out of it is just keep your eyes open, be aware, because sometimes things are as they seem, sometimes they're not.